All right, welcome to day 478. We're going to talk about the second part of how to deal with depression, part 2. It's the same 44-minute Tony Robbins video, watching the second half. But I really will tell you honestly, this title is probably a little misleading. I would say this title should be more like how to turn your life around. How to get moving, okay? And I'm going to hit these tips really fast because I think the key to this is really to take apart the lesson and really put it into action. So, I don't need to belabor the points, okay? Tony Robbins is known for saying, all right, tip number 1, just see the situation for what it is. I don't know how this video is finding you, what states you're in. Are you currently happy? Are you currently unemployed? Are you currently going through a divorce? Are you an empty nester? Are you worried about the economy? What's happening in your life? I don't know how this video finds you. But what Tony Robbins tells everybody is this. You need to sit down and say, this is the situation. This is exactly how it is. Do not make it better than it is or worse than it is. Let me give you a couple of scenarios quickly for you to understand. The shit that people say, all right, do not make it better than it is. People say, I'm doing better than most. I'm doing all right. I got my share. I'm keeping my head above water. I'm in there, I'm doing all right. Those are signs where you are not saying it the way it really is. Another one, don't make it worse than it really is. Oh my God, the world's coming to an end. Did you hear what this did and what they did and what the Democrats are doing? Did you hear what the Republicans are doing? Like, if this happens and we're all fucked up, if this happens and then we're all... Dude, that's an example of people making it worse than it is, right? Can you believe he did this to me? Can you believe this bitch said this about me and to me and my boss is doing this? Like, dude, Tony Robbins says, I don't tell people go into the garden and say there are no weeds, there are no weeds, there are no weeds. You have to go in the garden and say, I have weeds, and these are how many weeds I have, and pull them out. Get to work. So tip number 1 is, honestly assess exactly the situation you're in. My business is good, my business is not good, my family life is good, my family life's not good, I'm worried about my job prospects, etc., right? Also, and what the fuck does that have to do with my weight loss surgery? I did this interview a couple of years ago that got me a bunch of haters in the weight loss surgery world because I was on this podcast, YouTube video from this weight loss surgery influencer, and we had a horrible connection. But even beyond that, I kept calling her out on her BS. She would say she used to be I can't remember her numbers exactly. She was like 300 pounds, 5'4", 300 pounds. And she kept saying she had lost like 120 pounds, right? She was like 180 or something like that. And she was all proud and, you can follow me and I'm here to support the weight loss surgery community. And during the course of the interview, I asked her a few questions. And it turns out she wasn't 180. She was like 220. And I was like, oh, but so you've regained weight? She goes, yeah, I've regained some weight. I was like, well, why do you keep saying you're 180? Well, I got down to 180. Well, yeah, so? I mean, I used to weigh 110 pounds in college. I'm not 110 pounds now. And I was like, she's like, yeah, but I'm doing better than I was. I was like, okay, well, how tall are you? And she's like 5'4", 5'2". I'm like 5'2", I can't remember exactly, 5'4" maybe. And I was like, you're 80 pounds overweight. And she goes, yeah, but I'm not 300. I was like, you still qualify for weight loss surgery. If you came into the office today, you almost qualify if you had diabetes or something. You're still 80 pounds overweight. What are you talking about? And so she was like, oh my God. And some of her fans were like, I was like, what are you, 6'2"? Who remembers this interview? And she's like, no, I'm not 6'2". I'm like 5'2" or 5'3" or whatever. I was like, you can be 220 if you're 6'2". You can't be 220 if you're 5'4", right? And so, man, she's like stoked the fire. It's still her most popular view. Like, she's got the most views on that YouTube show. But I really was pissed off, and we haven't talked after that video, and I haven't taken another after that, and all the hate that came from her followers, her tribe that, you know, obviously circled the wagon around her like that. You just have to, you know, accept him the way he is. I have not taken another interview request since then. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to do it because, you know, I don't know what I'm walking into. I don't know the narrative. And I'm just, you know, I can't control my filters, man. Like, I will call you out on your bullshit. And you might not want to look bad in front of your fans. So I haven't had any more interviews since then. So, tip number one, you have to say it the way it is. This is how it is. And I want you to start right now, very simply. Couple things. How tall are you? Let me give you an example. Well, I used to be 5'4", and now I'm 5'2.5". Comment if you used to be 5'4", and now you're 5'2.5". I used to be 5'8", and now I'm 5'7". You know. And how much do you weigh? Well, I got down to 160. Well, I don't care what you got down to. How much do you weigh now? Okay, Dr. V, I understand. I'm now 180, okay? How much money is in your bank account? Oh, I make $100,000 a year. I have a good living. That's not what I fucking asked, right? How much is in your bank account? Well, my 401k. I'm not talking, like, how much is in your checking? How much is in your savings? That's liquid. You can put your 401k as a side thing, but if you don't do what I'm trying to tell you to do, your 401k is about to go down by 30, 40, 50%, okay? So you have to just very honestly write down a couple of things. How is it right now, okay? Tip number two, you got to get down to the truth of the matter. You have got to get down to the truth of the matter. This is the truth. In the video today, he talked about the Exxon, the BP, I guess they just had that big BP oil leak. They made a movie about it there in the Gulf. And he says, man, if you were a third generation oyster fisherman and you have this huge BP oil leak, you have to sit down and say, what's the truth? How long is this oyster farming going to go down? Like, how much of the oyster farms have been destroyed, right? No, Tony, I'm a third generation oyster farmer. It doesn't fucking matter. You have to get down to the truth of the matter. Okay, what does this have to do with my weight loss surgery? The truth of the matter is I'm snacking at night. The truth of the matter is I've let some bad habits go back in. Well, which bad habits are you talking about? I've let diet soda come back in. The truth of the matter is I'm not drinking as much water as I should. What the fuck does that mean? Oh, you mean 1 bottle? You mean 2 bottles? Okay, the truth of the matter is I've gone from 5 bottles of water or 6 bottles of water back down to 2 bottles of water. You got to get down to the truth of the matter. Truth of the matter is I'm snacking at 4 in the afternoon because that's right before my husband comes home, and I know I'm about to get a beating, or I'm about to get into it, or he's going to be mad. The truth of the matter is, and lean back, don't get triggered. Truth of the matter is I spent $2,000 last month on Amazon. That's the truth, all right? Not like I need to stop spending Amazon. I need to stop. I gotta curb my Amazon. Like, what? The truth of the matter is I spent $2,000 last month on Amazon because I feel anxiety about being worthless or not working, or I'm bored, or my child is leaving for college, or my marriage is breaking up. Something. What is the truth? You got to get down to the truth, all right? Dr. V, I mean, I had a great Sunday yesterday, but for whatever reason, Kizzy's mom wanted her home at 3, so I had a father's half day, not a full day. And then, you know, I was a little PO'd that Erica wasn't here, and that Mason's not here. So the truth of the matter is, I wasn't the nicest person to Erica yesterday, and then the truth of the matter is, I drank a bottle of wine and yelled at my chickens. I planted one plant, got too hot. I soaked in, I didn't do anything. I was non-productive. The truth of the matter is, I had this feeling I didn't want to feel. I ordered Uber Eats late at night, some Chinese stir fry, and went and fell asleep on the couch and got up at 11:30 and went to bed. Like, truth of the matter was, like, I don't like this feeling. Truth of the matter is, I need to talk to Erica and say, yeah, hey, I know it's important that you have to be there, but you didn't have to be there for this long. You could have come back. I don't even think that even is relevant. I just need to sit there and say, I'm not happy about this. And then I'll get over it. And that's what I text her. I said, I'll get over it. I'm just not going to be happy today. That's it. So, get down to the truth of the matter. Number 3, you have to have a vision for yourself. You have to have a vision for yourself. Okay, so my life is this way. What do I do? How do I see it changing? So I started thinking yesterday, like, it was 3 in the afternoon, Kizzy went home. I could have packed up my bags and headed to Albuquerque. I'd have to be back here. Like, Kizzy was supposed to stay with me, last half of this coming week. And so I'm kind of like, I need to spend time with her. I'm throwing her birthday party next Saturday, so we'd have to be back. Decided not to do it. But that was a vision, right? So a vision of playing with Mason and Erica. So I have this vision that this will pass. And after next week, I will get on the road and go to the mountains and get out of this heat and get, see Erica and, chase her around the bedroom. That's my vision. I have a vision of, launching the tribe this coming weekend. I have a vision of growing resellers. I have to create a website. I have to do, you have this vision. I have this vision for this yard, this vision for the chickens and the chicken coop and all this sort of stuff. You have to have a vision. So I want you, so you wrote down, okay, here's where I am. I'm 5'4", 185. So now you write the next column, the vision. The vision is, I'm 5'4", 130 pounds, and I've had plastic surgery. I've had my tummy tuck. Or, I've had the gobble neck removed. The double chin, the loose skin, the waddle removed. The turkey neck is gone. I've had my bat wings removed. Whatever you can see. Now, sometimes you can't see all of it, because if you go, but Dr. Vuong, if I had all the plastic surgery done, my insurance might cover some things and others. Either way, I'm going to be out of pocket $30,000, right? Make some shit up. Well, that doesn't matter. What do you see? Well, okay, I think my insurance will cover a tummy tuck. Well, there you go. Start with that. The vision is 5'4", 130 pounds with a tummy tuck. I can see that, right? I can see now making $100,000 a month. So last year, in case without selling the COVID rapid test, I got up to about $65,000, $70,000 a month. And y'all could have done the math for, $20. We had at one point we had 4,000 people in the group. No, not quite 2,500 people in the group, times $20 a person. Plus I was doing 10 groups, weekly group sessions. So I could almost see it. I was like, oh dude, I'm almost there. Then the vision went away. So now it's time to start rewriting that vision again. That's it. You have to have a vision for your life, your career, your relationship, your empty nest, right? Your retirement. Some of y'all are ready for retirement. You have to have this vision. 4th tip, he says, now you have to find a role model. You have to find a role model and do what they did. That's it. There are people in this tribe. I can think of them, a couple of them off the top of my head, who are at goal weight, who have had complete body makeovers, who have had the whole mommy makeup, brand new breastises, and and all of it, right? They've had the whole makeover, and There are people in this tribe who just had the turkey neck done. There are people in this tribe who have $1 million businesses. There are people in this tribe that have just graduated from nursing school or went back to school. Find a role model and do what they did. What did you do? There are people in this tribe right now, today, who are in the middle of going through a divorce, who have gotten the significant other to sign the paper. Find a role model and reach out and say, how did you do it? Which takes me to the last tip. And this one is hard because you guys always have a comeback for this one. Tony Robbins says this: lastly, if you want your life to change, do more than what you expect in return. Give more than what you expect in return. So show up early to work. Volunteer for the weekend stuff. Ask for the extra shifts. Pick up the when your boss is in a crunch. Do a study group. Do more. Give more than what you expect back in return. The key is this: they better fucking give something back in return, whether it's a paycheck or something else. See, the comeback you guys always have, but Dr. V, I'm always doing for other people and they never do anything for me. I'm always giving. And well, that's because you gave and you didn't expect something back in return. Tony Robbins is not saying give and don't expect anything back in return. There is a role for that. That's not this situation. This situation is give more than you expect back in return. So you're expecting them to give something back in return, right? But you're just going to give more. My friend and mentor, Dave says, he gives, what does he say? He says, $20, you give me $1, I'll give you back $20. You give me $1, I'll give you back $20. Would you take that deal? If you gave me $1, I'll give you back $20. And yeah, you would do that deal. You would do that deal in a heartbeat. Or if you, maybe you can't give back $20. I mean, the guy is totally, Jerry Maguire is based on his life. So you give, maybe you can't give $20 back, but how about one to five? You give me back $1, I give you back $5 in value. Oh, hell yeah. Maybe you're really, but how about you give me $1, I'll give you back $2. People would do that all day long. Hey, if you give me $1, I'll give you back $2. Tony Robbins says, if you go to Business Mastery, which is like, $4,000 or $5,000, he goes, after the first day, and it's like a 3-day event, after the first day of Business Mastery, if you didn't get $1 million of value, he'll give you all your money back. So in other words, he says, give me $5,000 and I'll give you $1 million back in the first day alone. But they have to give you something. Does this make sense? When my boss hired me and he says, here's your base salary, $425,000, I was like, wow. And I said, we're gonna be number one. I'll be the first doctor into the hospital. I'll be the last doctor to leave. I will not have complications. So he was expecting me to be director of bariatrics at this level. I gave him back this level. Does that make sense? This is my going rate, $400,000 for a director of bariatrics. Going rate. It was not more, not less. It was perfect 50% median for my job title. It was exactly it was the average of what I should have been paid. So he paid me what I was due, but I gave him this much value. Does that make sense? Right? I lived and breathed in that hospital. I mean, that's the idea. But he had to give me something. All right, so what I want you to do is start giving more than what you expect back. That's really powerful. All right, let me give you the last few tips. And these are important. So he says, yeah, but Tony, what if I don't have a role model? What if I can't find anybody? So the bonus tip is this. He says, model yourself. And I'm gonna hit the questions really fast, and there's one that I really want you to understand. So he says, write down these questions, okay? Model yourself. Let me ask you this question, and comment if you want to share in the comment section. What was a hard time that you got through? Is there a time in your life where you really didn't know how you were going to get through it? And I'm going to share with you, my own. Well, there have been people in this tribe that have been homeless, that were drug addicted, that were living on the streets, that were living in the cars. There are people in this tribe right now watching that used to have their heads bashed in every day in the bad abusive relationship. There have been rapes, molestations, there are bad stuff. Myself personally, 2008 through 2011, the worst financial situation, $4 million in debt, creditors calling, lost all my rental properties, my business was not going, couldn't operate, I was going to lose everything. And that was a horrible time. Eventually it cost me my house, my practice, it cost me my family. It cost me my first relationship with Kizzy's mom. All right. There were, going through the breakup with Kizzy's mom was a hard time. Losing my dad was a hard time. Going through med school was a hard time. There's all sorts of things. Being picked on when I was little because I was the poorest kid in school, and I was, couldn't speak the language, and I was skinny and I was scrawny. And you can point to a lot of stuff. So what is a time in your life that was hard? All right. And then he says, okay, what did you, number 2 is really, really important. Question number 2 and question number 5. Question number 2 is, what was your life like right before that time? And he says, when we think back, we think our life was so good. We think that life was probably better than it is. But if you actually sit down and you write about it, you realize, right before that hard time, it wasn't that good. So to be honest with you, right before 2008, I was worried. I was like, dude, my practice was 2005, 2006. I was realizing, dude, my practice isn't going to make it. I got to change. That's when I went from general surgery to bariatrics. I was like, I can't make it as a general surgeon, man. I can't cover the overhead. I might not be able to pay this mortgage on this big ass stupid house I bought, because it's 2006. Everybody was like lending money, right? I might not be able to. I'm worried we're in a real estate bubble. Why am I buying this other house? I need to stop. It was not good, I was happy in my relationship, and Kizzy was amazing. But, my partner was not, she did not understand my financial struggles. She did not like the fact that I was on call, because I was a general surgeon. Every 3rd week I was on call, and my pager would go off in the middle of the night. And it got to the point where, I don't think I've ever said this, but it got to the point where when I was on call, I had to sleep in the other bedroom, so that her sleep would not be disturbed. Well, that's what you get for being with a surgeon. And she'd know. I'd been with her since she was 19 years old, and I was 22, right? She had known for the last 10, 15 years that I was going to be a surgeon, so I don't know why this was such a surprise. But if you look back and you go, man, my life was not that good. So question number 2 is, honestly, write down, how was your life before that situation? Because the tendency is to remember it like it was better than it was. Question number 3 is, what did you do about it? How did you get over it? What did you actually do? Did you find a mentor? Did you read a book? This is about depression. Was there something that you did? So for me, I've talked about that time when I was sad in my sophomore year in college, sitting on the couch for 2 weeks, not going to classes, not showering, not doing anything but watching The Godfather. What I did was I got reconnected to my roots. I started cooking. I tried that recipe, the 2 dishes, ganchua and kaka, and I called my dad. I heard my dad's voice. I tried, my traditional dishes. So I always have that. So now, if I have that depression, if I start feeling the blues, I cook. Last night, I was too PO'd. I still ordered Chinese stir-fried rice. But at any point, I could cook. I cooked bulgogi barbecue for lunch for Kizzy for Father's Day, and it was delicious. And we sat it and watched the TV show, and she was like, oh my God, this is the best you've ever made. I was like, I think this is the best I've ever made it, because it was full of love and it was delicious, right? And that was for lunch, and then Kizzy leaves, and then I wasted the rest of the evening. So, what did you actually do to get out of it? And the last thing, and this is the most important tip, number 4. I know I said there was 5, but I think there's just 4. Last thing. And this is the most important question. How is your life now after you got through the period? How is your life now after you went through that? And the truth of the matter is, my life is so much better now than when in 2010, when I was on the brink of suicide. Because I was $4 million in debt. I was going to lose it all. I had no friends. I felt like a phony. My practice was failing. I was not getting referrals. I was not happy. You know, I was on the brink of suicide. Fast forward 10 years later, I've been retired for 3 years. I have more money now than I've ever had. I have more passive income than I've ever had. I have a better relationship with a newer person in my life, you know, Mason's mom, Erica. I've never, this is a good thing, you know. One of the why was I so upset yesterday? Because she means a lot in my life, and so does Mason. They've become an integral part of my life, and I miss her, and I wanted her to be there, so I was pissed she wasn't there. But that's a good thing, right? It's much better than be like, oh my God, I can't wait for y'all to get out of here so I can have some peace and quiet. You know families like this? Do you know relationships like this, where they can't wait for their spouse to go hunting trip or cooking trip or you know, fishing trip so that they can have some peace and quiet? They can't wait to get away? Like, no, I'm the opposite. You know, I want my significant other here. That's a good thing, right? So how is your life now after you gotten over this incident? I'm much better off. I've got much better friends than I had in college. I've got, I live in a better house. I have more money. I have more free time. I do whatever the fuck I want to do. My life is so much better. And that's the last tip. That is the bonus tip. This is the bonus tip. Every day, you know, there's a saying that says, you have survived 100% of all of your worst days. Have you heard people say, oh my God, this is my worst day ever? The worst day of my life when I came home and I caught my husband with another man in bed. Worst day ever was when my company, you know, laid me off or announced that they were closing their business after 40 years. Worst day of my life was when my daughter was in a wreck. The worst day of my life was when my son died of an overdose. The worst day of my life was when my mom had cancer. The worst day of my life was when the doctor called me and told me I had breast cancer. There's that meme that says you have survived 100% of your worst days. And I'm here to tell you, I don't know where this video finds you, but I can almost guarantee you that if you will just sit through this moment, you will get to a place in your life where your life is better than ever. So, for the last minute, what I want you to do is put in the comments section. And you might not be at goal. You might not be where you want to be. You might not be financially free. You might not have found your perfect partner or mate. But think about it. And if you believe in, honestly, you can say better than ever. Put in the comment section, you are better than ever. Not that you're at goal. Not that you have all this money. But looking back, you can say, I'm better than ever. Dr. V, even with coronavirus, even with gaining 10 pounds during coronavirus, even I haven't even gotten to my Bruce Lee body, which I said I was going to do for 48. You know, even though I'm still drinking too much, even though I haven't started doing my lives, and I still have 2,500 COVID rapid tests to sell, I can still say I'm better than ever. Dr. V, how you doing? Better than ever, bitches. I'm better than ever.